Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch chapter 3.
Yes, so the Punch is reporting that, given a statement by the Vice Chancellor, Nile University Professor Dilidogo, where he revealed that the federal government has given a directive to universities to begin to admit more students into medicine and surgery as a strategy to address the Japa syndrome. So this particular university, the Vice Chancellor was saying that, so for them, in response to that, they would increase medical students' admission by 100%, and that this particular university, the Nile University, graduated their first set of medical students, and they will be admitting 195 students next admission season. And for them, this is a 100% improvement. And also, they have made quite huge and relevant investment in that particular faculty. So that's medicine and surgery. They're working to pursue sound educational competence for their students, so far and so forth. The reason I'm a bit reluctant in reading, it talks more about this particular university. It just gives us a few lines that the federal government had given a directive. So I think that's what's most important right now, that government, in another way to, alleviate the impact of Japa syndrome on our health sector, is encouraging universities to increase the number of students that they would admit in medicine and surgery. And I hope that this means qualified students. Exactly. And then also, this is hope for a lot of students who've always wanted to get into, but the space have been quite limited. Yes. So that means hopefully we also get more students who are qualified.
For the teachers.
Yep.
You know, we had a
conversations we can have.
Yes. Lecturers also should be.
So there's something that I know about qualifying for medicals, to study medicine. The initial admission is good, is done generally, but the first year requirement to get to second year level downsizes the number of students. So
all right. Any story in Punch? Let's move on.
Yes,
quickly.
I do have a story in Punch. The Shaibu Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, has said that his deputy has a right to contest. He said it in a way, when you read it, you would understand.
Were you there?
No, I'm reading.
Yeah, read the words.
Let me read it. He spoke about the deputy governor's declaration to run and say, as a Nigerian and a citizen of Edo State, he has a right to run. That it is not his decision to make. That the PDP party in Edo State has over 1 million members and his vote is small. It does not determine, he doesn't determine who becomes the flag bearer of PDP in Edo State. He also said that it's the party members that will decide, and if he wants to run for office, he's free. However, the party itself is starting their process for nomination primaries on the shaky ground, because somebody called for a meeting and the secretary said, no, I did not call for the meeting. According to the PDP constitution, only the secretary can call for a meeting. So in PDP themselves, they need their areas where
house together.
They need to, from the presidency all the way, they need to keep their house together. Let me talk this story very quickly. CBN, they say that the Senate Committee on Gas Resources probing the 135 billion naira Central Bank Intervention Fund said it would invite anti-graft agencies to join the ongoing investigation. The panel gave the threat when the affected companies, 14 of them, appeared before it on Thursday to defend their utilization of the CBN Intervention Fund. They described their defense as unacceptable. The alleged lack of synergy between them and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the CBN. They also queried the discriminatory disbursement of the funds to beneficiaries and wondered why some firms collected more than the 10 billion naira credit limit. So many things, so many questions have been asked from this probe, and the task of the committee is to ensure that the company actually expend the funds on what they collected it for. See how that goes. Moving on quickly now to Daily Sun. FG paints scary picture of poverty. HIV/AIDS. Nigeria has achieved 94, 90, and 76 of the global 95, 95, 95 UNAID target, says government. Demolition on Haneze to meet Sanwo-Olu. Shetima in Anambra commissions projects sponsored by Emeka Ofo. Ondo Assembly Speaker withdraws suit against Deputy Governor. How robbers killed Ogun top government officials. And court asked to jail AGF for Fagbemi over alleged contempt. Okay, which story?
I'll take the human interest story. So a staff of the Director of Finance and Accounts, the Director of Finance and Accounts attached to the Governor's Office, Oke Musa, a staff of his, Taiwo Oyekomi, was shot and killed by suspected armed robbers on Wednesday in Abeokuta. So the story was that he and a driver had driven to Fidelity Bank and withdrawn some money. And on their way back in a homemade bullion van, is the way it's described, and on a particular bridge, they were accosted by 5 people in a car who were wearing hoods covering their faces, and then they got down, they shot Mr. Taiwo Oyekomi, who is the director, in the staff, Taiwo Oyekomi, and he was shot. And but the driver was injured, and then they got a sledgehammer, broke the bullion van where the money was kept, took the money and left. The 2 of them were rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, Mr. Taiwo Oyekomi passed on. And, you know, the police are involved. They said usually trips like this, you would have police escort, or, you know, you have proper escort to do this. But they said that maybe the escorts had to go for something else, and so they could not follow. So obviously there seems to be like in-house, yes, for them to know that they were going to the bank, and especially if it was in a homemade bullion van, it shouldn't have been something that was obvious to just a passerby. So it seems there's some foul play here.
Okay, another story, son.
So I have the AG story. So one, Michael Aneke has asked the court, brought up an application before the Federal High Court to imprison the AGF for contempt of court for 3 months. This is because he had gotten a judgment against the IG in August last year, which was, supposed to be enforced. And to enforce it, he had gone and applied for that money judgment against to the office of the AGF. The action, the court ordered that the money be paid. He went ahead and got a compelling order, that's an order of mandamus, compelling the AGF to, enforce the judgment again, which was also ignored. And this time around, he brought an application asking the court to imprison the AGF for contempt of court for 3 months. I hope that the rule of law is also upheld by the office of the AGF before we get to this kind of embarrassing situation.
So true. So the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agribusiness and Productivity Enhancement, Kingsley Uzoma, was shared some jarring statistics at the policy dialogue, which was sponsored by the Federal Government International Funds for Agriculture, IFAD, and National Information and Technology Development Agency, NITDA. The policy dialogue was tagged Deepening Partnership for Scaling Up of Information and Communication Technology for Development of Smallholder Farmers in Nigeria. So the worry is if something drastic isn't done in our agricultural sector, no fewer than 94% of Nigerians would face insufficient food consumption. And that is that there's an estimate already of 88 million people experiencing pangs of hunger, inability to eat properly. He also mentioned how Nigeria has about 70%, the highest rate of children globally with stunted growth due to malnutrition. He said 70% of the population live below poverty line and food inflation, and that just in October it stood at 31.52% for food inflation. What are the solutions they're trying to propose? So they are creating a new system. It's called the IFAD program. The program would be, the IFAD program is going to produce value chain development program, livelihood improvement program, but the real challenge is that there's a reducing capacity of our farmers. They are unable to produce enough food, and Nigeria keeps increasing. 80% of our food is being imported. I mean, there's been an alarming over 80% improvement in how much the volume of food we're importing into Nigeria, and we're reducing what we're producing. For me, our advice, insecurity is another major challenge. People cannot go to the farm because their farms are not safe. Farmers are being held to ransom. Their goods are taken from them. Bad transportation is also part of the problem. Bad road.
It's not the lack of local options that people are importing food. It's taste and...
No, it's
not that's part of it, but also these particular policies that programs that you're talking about would aim to enhance income and food security through sustainable practices and integration. So there's so many...
On a better note, maybe, I would say National Coordinator of the National AIDS Viral Hepatitis and STI Control Program by the Federal Ministry of Health, Mr. Adebobola Basharun, said at the press briefing that Nigeria has achieved 94 90-96 of the global 95-95-95 UNAIDS target for HIV. What that means is that 95% of people who are living with HIV must know their status. 95% of people who know that they have HIV are being treated, they're put on a life-saving antiretroviral therapy, that's ART, and 95% of them who are on treatment are being virally suppressed. Now, we have achieved 94, 90, 96. That's some good numbers, but this means that we have succeeded getting 94% of our people to know their status. However, at this point, because of our population, so it says about over 50,000 children are currently on treatment for HIV, possibly mother-to-child transmission. And Nigeria is on track in achieving the 2030 target for global HIV epidemic control, which is so that's a good story. Moving on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story of not taking 80% surge in food importation, alarming says federal government. 135 billion naira gas intervention project. Senators kick as CBN Petroleum Ministry trade blame. Makinde presents new Aseyin staff of office December 14th. That date has changed like 3 times. I saw 16 before, I saw 19th, now it is 14th. This same...
I think he's trying to do it for most of them on the
around the same time. Okay, reps NCE argue over concrete technology for road construction, and 2024 budget. Reps call for fiscal responsibility, public service reform.
Let me take out the road construction matter, because the House of Representatives has called for a public hearing, and they also involved the Nigerian Society of Engineers just on Thursday. It started a bit rocky because the moment the hearing started, the Nigerian Society of Engineers said that the House, as much as they respect the parliamentary's role of oversight, they don't have the knowledge, technical knowledge to preside over this kind of conversation. And this is because the Minister for Works has said he wants to do most of our roads. We want to adopt concrete technology for our road construction, and the conversation has to now involve, from a professional point of view, is this right or is it not? The argument they spent more time arguing on who has a right to conduct the hearing than then going into the technicalities of what the hearing should entail. I feel that this should be more public and go around the states. Let's take advantage of our professors and engineers that have spent years doing research. We shouldn't be having issues that we have with our roads in Nigeria. We shouldn't have to be patching roads after every rainy season.
No, we have seen it now. The last administration, the last Minister for Works has concreted roads around Lagos. The Japa Oworoshoki Express Road is completely concrete now. So we've tested it. They are doing concrete on the Odojo Road.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but it's more durable.
It's about weighing the options.
All right, let's go on a break now. When we come back, we move on to our sponsor segment. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.